Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Butt Fumble Sports Night Show. Decided to jump on for a few minutes, talk some sports with you guys. So if you do have fantasy questions, fire away with them. Throw them in the comments section. Here to help you guys out as we look ahead to NFL Week 10. So if you have fantasy questions, fire away. I'm going to be live for subscribers for about a half hour or so. So if you want to get your questions in, this is your opportunity, but you have to be a subscriber. TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. Subscriber only show for you guys. So subscribers, fire away. Here to help you guys out with everything that you guys need. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Again, fantasy questions being answered for all of you out there with fantasy football questions. Decide to jump on subscriber only show. If you guys do need help with any of your questions, again, for your fantasy football team, trades, who to start, who to sit, fantasy football, obviously Butt Fumble Sports is here to help you out. We'll be on as long as you guys want us to. If you guys don't need help with your questions, or if the audience isn't big enough, we're good. Dante, good evening. Great to see you. Dante, hope you're having a good one. Haven't seen you in a minute. How's it going, Dante? Hope you and your family are having a great weekend, or at least start to the weekend. Hope it's a good one for you. If you're watching over on TikTok, feel free to fire away with your fantasy questions. No matter what, Butt Fumble Sports is here to help you with your DFS, sports betting, and obviously your fantasy football questions. We've been keeping track of our player prop bets that we gave out during the show. So far, we've done pretty well tonight, actually. It's been a pretty good night for Butt Fumble Sports overall with the bets that we gave out. Hopefully, you guys tailed on some of our winners. Hopefully, you avoided some of our losers. Again, night show for all of you Butt Fumble Sports subscribers. If you have a fantasy football question for NFL Week 10, decide to jump on, help you guys out with whatever you guys need. So no matter the question, DFS, fantasy football, sports betting, here to help you guys out with whatever you need. I know it's a random Friday night, but decide to jump on. We will be on pretty early tomorrow as well. So fantasy football questions, if you don't have them now, no worries. We'll get back to them tomorrow morning, but came on for a subscriber only show, so fire away. If you need help with your fantasy football team, now is the time for you. Colorful napkin. If you guys need help with anything, otherwise, I'll just probably do some research. I can obviously do some sports betting research up on my screen if you guys would like to see that. That's another option for you. I can just do my research for tomorrow for about a half hour. That's always an option. Kike is Guap. How's your night going? Fantastic. Bunch of the teams that I bet on won. Spent some good time with family. Nothing better than a good Friday night with family and some good sports on TV with the outcomes that you're looking for. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Friday of your own. Feel free to fire away with any questions, comments. Doesn't matter what you guys want to talk about, by the way. If you want to rant about what's going on in the sports world, Michigan, college football, we can talk about that. If you guys obviously, thanks Liz for the tiny diney. Appreciate you so much, Liz. If you guys obviously want to ask fantasy football questions, subscriber only show, here to help you guys out. Kike is Guap. Really need help with the flex. Not much at a waiver. Samuel, Irv Smith, Shakir. I'm going to lean, it's between Samuel and Shakir for me. I might lean just slightly towards Shakir, just barely. I don't love it. I like the idea of starting Samuel, but I feel like Shakir actually is going to get more targets. Irv Smith hasn't been consistent enough in that Bengals offense. Thanks so much for the question, Kike. If you have a question and you want it answered, feel free to fire away. All you have to do is become a subscriber on Butt Fumble Sports on TikTok, or you can jump on over to YouTube. We are on YouTube right now. Hi, YouTube. If you guys want to ask your questions and you don't want to be a subscriber on TikTok, you can go over to YouTube. That said, subscribers on TikTok will answer as many questions as you throw out at us. Liz, great to see you, Liz. Jonnu Smith or Logan Thomas. Liz, I'm gonna go Logan Thomas just barely. Liz, I'll go Logan Thomas very close, but I'll go Logan Thomas. Thanks so much for the question. Tats and Scars. You like Robert Woods, Noah Brown, or Jerome Ford for the flex? I'd go Noah Brown. Tats and Scars, I like Noah Brown the best. Hope your evening is going well as well. You guys are incredibly nice to me. It's great to see all of you guys watching the show. Again, subscribers, you guys can comment, throw them in there. If you guys don't want to subscribe on TikTok, you can either wait until a show at 10 a.m. tomorrow, or you can jump on over to YouTube. Zach, should I consider Howell over Lamar this week? Yes, I would, Zach. King Croc, pick 2 wide receivers. I'm going to lean towards Addison and Dell. Addison and Dell, King Croc. I don't like Devontae Adams' matchup against Sauce Gardner. Texas Tejano asks, Walker and Flowers are on waivers in my league. I have the number 1 claim. Which one or none are worth it? Flowers is absolutely worth picking up. So Texas Tejano, I would pick up Zay Flowers. I think that's absolutely player. Not this week in terms of return on that investment, but certainly rest of season. King Croc, appreciate you being with us. Glad we could give you some good advice. iClick, great to see you over there on Twitch. Great to have another viewer over there. Kike is guap. With Nico Collins out, does Tank Dell have a good game? I actually think Tank Dell benefits sometimes from Nico Collins being there. I think it helps to draw away some of that defensive attention. So I actually don't like it as much for him. Do I think he gets more targets? Yes. Do I think his production goes up because of it? Actually not. I think he's one of those wide receivers who I think he's better as a Robin to someone else's Batman. Doesn't mean he can't outscore Nico Collins most weeks. It means when he has the safety attention over him, different story in terms of production. Maverick, should I start Trenton Irwin or Brian Robinson or Khalil Shakir? Probably Brian Robinson out of that group. King Croc, should I start Kyler or Lamar? We talked about this earlier in our earlier day show. I don't trust Kyler. I need to see it because he's coming off an injury. I haven't seen a preseason game. I haven't seen anything that allows me to collect data about how he's going to perform. I'll go Lamar Jackson. I know Lamar has a worse matchup. Kyler has a better matchup. So King Croc, if you want to fade my advice, I totally understand. But I'm always going to go off of what I've seen, not what I expect or project. If I haven't seen Kyler Murray, hard for me to really understand what he's capable of. So I'll go Lamar. He's playing at an MVP level, even though he's going up against a tough Cleveland Browns defense. As for your flex question, Kittle, Gus, or Adams, I'd actually say Kittle. I think Kittle could have a really big week this week for the 49ers. Thanks so much, Texas Tejano, for that corn. Best doggos, pick 3. Ridley, Gibbs, Addison, Godwin, or Ayuk. Best doggos, I'd go Ayuk. I'd go Godwin, and I'm going to lean just slightly towards Gibbs. Just barely, I think. Very close, though. I click Vikings defense versus Denver or Lions defense versus Chicago next week. I'd go Lions defense. I click, I'd go Lions defense next week. King Croc, thank you for saying we're the GOAT. Really appreciate you very much. Lewis Cleary, Dylan or Moss? Good question. I'm going to lean just slightly towards Moss, believe it or not. It may surprise you guys. Zach Moss is a top 5 running back when it comes to total yards this year. Moss had a good year. I think Moss is going to have a fine game. Between the two, I think they may put up similar points, but I trust Moss more overall. George Play 01. I'd go Cade Otton over Njoku. Cade Otton over Njoku. I just traded Mixon for T. Higgins Sunday because I've got Burrow as my quarterback. Yeah, T. Higgins out this week, but rest of season, I still like T. Higgins, so don't overthink it. You didn't destroy anything. Texas Tejano, McManus or Dicker the kicker this week? I'd probably say Dicker the kicker. I like McManus a lot, but I think Dicker the kicker, probably just more scoring opportunities overall. Mendez, sorry man, I got an ad right before you answered my question. Kyle Pitts or Otton? Mendez, I'd go Otton. Mendez, I'd go Otton. Ivan, I'm going to lean just slightly, I think, towards Gibbs. Ivan, I'll lean towards Gibbs, but it's a coin flip. By the way, appreciate you guys watching over on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Kick, no matter the platform. Great to have so many of you guys joining us for the subscriber-only show tonight. Kike Esquap, thoughts on Mitchell? Really like him. Love what I'm seeing from him. Speedster in that backfield, they could use it, but don't like the matchup this week. Texas Tejano, another reminder for you, I like Dicker the kicker. CL, want to upgrade at the wide receiver position. Is JT or Jacobs a good trade for CD or Diggs? Right now, you might be able to pull off a Jacobs for CD or Diggs trade. I wouldn't give up JT personally, but Jacobs is probably going to have a second good week in a row with Antonio Pierce as the head coach. Maybe that means Jacobs' value is good enough where you can flip him for the wide receiver. You might have to wait until after this week. I don't know what your trade deadline situation is, but Jacobs, maybe he has done enough in the last week or two to maybe pull it off. I think it's tough, though. Lamb and Diggs are usually wide receivers that their owners usually love them. Ivan, between Gibbs and Addison, I feel like Gibbs is just going to get more overall carries and targets. So I'm going to trust that Dan Campbell's telling us that he really is going to give Gibbs still opportunities, even with Montgomery back. And I'll go Gibbs over Addison. It's very close. But Addison and the Vikings have a tricky matchup this week against the New Orleans Saints. So that's one of the reasons I lean in the direction I do. CL, trade deadline's next week. My opponent weak at running back. So hoping he goes for the trade. He's deep. CL, love how you're thinking it through, so we're in agreement on it. Texas Tejano, full PPR, pick one for my flex. Ooh, really tough. I'll go, so Swift's off it, so I'm a little bit worried about that. Diego, glad you're cashing on Kevin Horner on his 3-pointers. Way to cash, man. Team cashing tickets here. Dodged a bullet by sitting Thielen last night. CL, very happy you did that. Maverick, wait, hold up. I know I probably messed up this trade because I needed a running back for week 11, but I traded Herbert and Tank Dell for Brian Robinson. Thoughts? And I got Dotson. It's not terrible. Look, I'd rather probably own Dell than anybody else, but Dotson's going to have a good week this week, so I don't hate it. And Brian Robinson, he gets in the end zone at a decent clip, so I don't hate it as much as I probably could, Maverick. Appreciate all you being with us. If you guys don't want to subscribe to the show, make sure you do hit the follow button. That way you catch our show tomorrow at 10 a.m. That show's for everybody. However, if you want to get in on the conversation, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you become a member of the Butt Fumble Sports family, the inner family. Make sure you hit that follow button today. So would you trade him? If so, Lewis Cleary, would I trade Achin? I may, because I think a lot of people are over projecting his value. And by the way, big question mark around his value for now. So I wouldn't mind trading him. By the way, could you get somebody like a Tank Dell? Would someone be so foolish as to trade a wide receiver who's been producing for a running back who's been sidelined? Maybe someone's desperate because they need running back help. Johnny D, can't believe I'm asking this question, but are we smashing the start button on Taysom Hill over Jason Ferguson? Yeah, that is true. Johnny D, I totally agree with you, but really what it's about is, one, Taysom Hill, the Swiss Army knife production is there. Running, catching, throwing, it's just there. Second, I like the matchup this week against the Vikings. Third, Ferguson I think has a really good game against the Giants, but I'm going to say that the Cowboys focus on the run game this week in ways that they've been focusing on the pass game in weeks past. So I could see Ferguson getting a touchdown. I could see him getting 4 or 5 catches. Could be a really big game. I still think Taysom Hill actually is the better fantasy play, Johnny D. Thanks so much for the question and joining us over there on YouTube. If you're watching over on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. That way you never miss our show. You never miss the content. You never miss Butt Fumble Sports every time we go live. Pluex, hey, should I do Hawkinson, Amari Cooper, Puka, Tua for Diggs? I can afford it. If you can give up all of that to get, I don't think you're getting enough if you're getting Diggs. I would like Diggs and something else, but Texas Tejano, should I start Schultz this week? 100%. Guys, the Cincinnati Bengals are the worst defense in the NFL against the tight end position. You saw last week how Kincaid did against them. Expect the same kind of results from Schultz. Actually, so I mentioned, someone asked earlier, how is Tank Dell's value going to be impacted with no Nico Collins? And I said it actually might go down a little because more defensive coverage will shift over to try to take away Dell with no Nico Collins. I think Dalton Schultz could have a massive game without Nico Collins. I think it may mean that CJ Stroud relies on him even more. And a big part of this is when Jesse Bates moved on from the Bengals, they got a lot younger at the safety position. They got a lot younger middle of the field. And obviously, where is Dalton Schultz going to attack for the most part? In the seam. Great opportunity to get Dalton Schultz this week in a starting position, whether at tight end or in the flex. I'd even recommend him there. Would you start the Saints defense? Only option I have. Aaron, if it's the only option you have, then I guess you have no choice. But I don't love it as much as I should. I think they're going to turn over Josh Dobbs. I think they could get a sack or two. But honestly, I think the Vikings have shown new life. I also think if Justin Jefferson comes back, it changes the equation. Now, I don't think he will this week, but I think the Saints aren't as good a defense as we thought, and I think the Vikings are a better offense than we thought post Kirk Cousins, so it's a little tricky prediction here. CL, I Laporta, but wide receiver 1 is the Sun God. Is that a problem? No, not at all. The passing offense for the Lions is going to be on point against the Chargers. Chargers give up a ton of pass yards. Don't worry about it. Start both. Frankie, I'd go Justin Herbert. Frankie, I'd go Justin Herbert. John Tosh, should I trade Olave and Brandon Cooks for Devontae Adams and Judy? I actually don't hate the trade. John Tosh, I don't hate the trade. Olave is probably the best player in the deal, but to get Adams and Judy, I think you're upgrading because I think Judy's a better option than Cooks. Adams, even though he might be a drop-off from Olave, it's not massive. So John Tosh, I actually do like the trade. Aaron Hawkinson might be out this week. No, I've heard he's on the injury report. I'm still keeping track of it. Game. So Jets, Raiders, Seahawks. Obviously, I love the Cowboys, but they're not going to be available. Drew, thanks for resubscribing, Drew. Missed you as a subscriber. Great to have you back. Other defenses I like this week. I like the Steelers. And yeah, those would be the defenses. I don't hate the Lions, but I don't love the Lions. So I would go Jets, Raiders, Seahawks, Cowboys, Steelers. Those would be 5 defenses I really like this week.
JC Construction, thanks so much for following. Let's see what we got. CL Laporta is my main tight end, but wide receiver, yeah, is that a problem? No, we answered that. Thoughts on Tank Dell with Nico Collins out? Kike, I mentioned it a bit earlier. Tank Dell getting more coverage, don't love it. He'll get more targets, but I don't know if he'll actually get the kind of production you want. It's Schultz that actually, I think, benefits from Nico Collins being out. Aaron, should I start Falcons defense against Arizona? I like it. I don't love it. Again, it kind of goes to the Kyler Murray question mark. That goes both ways. I wouldn't start Kyler Murray. I also don't know if he's going to be effective, so it's hard for me to say if the Falcons are a good play. I like the Falcons this week, but there's some other defenses I prefer. Seahawks are there. I'll pick them up. Pluex, awesome to hear. Reason I like the Seahawks, look, Sam Howell's actually played really well this year as a fantasy quarterback, but the Washington Commanders give up as many sacks as anyone in the NFL. They give up a ton of sacks. That's why I like the Seahawks this week, because even if the Seahawks give up pass yards and points, you'll still get maybe a turnover and some sacks. That'll lessen the blow, especially in a tough week. Drew, how's it been going? It's going great. Butt Fumble Sports, talking sports every day. Can't get any better over here. Mamba, should I trade Bijan? No. Mamba, do not do that deal. Mamba, do not do that deal. Ivan, Swift or Pacheco for the rest of season? Probably Pacheco, just barely. More because Swift, I actually think a big part of it has to do with Swift isn't getting those short yardage touchdowns because of the tush push or, the Philly, the brotherly shove. So Pacheco's going to get those red zone opportunities. That's what actually is the difference for me. Richard Hernandez, full PPR if Chase sits. He's not. Chase will play this week. Chase is going to play. Higgins will not. But, Richard, between Thomas and London, I actually really like Drake London this week. If Drake London is healthy enough to go, Drake London is absolutely worth the start this week, guys. Really like Drake London. CL, Sat Thielen, Higgins out, Puka on a bye. Perfect. Rolling with D-Hop at wide receiver 2. Hell yeah. CL, that's a great move. DeAndre Hopkins could have a massive week. Really like DeAndre Hopkins this week, guys. DeAndre Hopkins, Drake London. These are 2 guys who could have really big weeks against their opponents. Sand Sifter, I'm 6-3 to pick up injured Diggs against a 2-7. Then he'll bite and Devontae Kittle package, huh? Sand Sifter, yes. I think if you made that trade package, he would bite and give you Diggs. Yep. Neil Dynasty, you think Dell will have wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2 numbers this week? Probably closer to wide receiver 2 numbers. I'm just worried, again, I keep mentioning it for you guys asking about Dell. Without Nico Collins, the defense shifts to cover him more. I liked him more when he's the wide receiver 2 under the radar, the speedster who's going up against the second corner. I like him not having the safety help over top. I think Dell's numbers are negatively impacted. Mamba, I'd start Justin Herbert over Dak. Dak's matchup against the Giants, it's good. It's actually not as favorable as you think. Giants are better against the pass, worse against the run. That's where I come out, Mamba. Diego, Penn State and West Virginia upsets tomorrow. You heard it here first, guys. Diego's taking Penn State and West Virginia. Lennox, Kyler or Carr? Man, I hate it. I don't know. I don't know, Lennox. Honestly, I might go Kyler. I told you guys I'm not taking Kyler with anybody, but I got to admit, Derek Carr this year has disappointed me so many times. And the fact that I do like Taysom Hill, it just tells you I'm worried about Derek Carr's ability to get touchdowns. So he should have a more favorable matchup. But Lennox, I actually might like Kyler. He might end up getting more fantasy points overall. Jorge, is Zay Flowers a must-sit this week? I think so, unless you really don't have anyone else to put at the wide receiver position or at the flex. I do think Zay Flowers is a sit. Achan plus what kind of piece can get me Kelsey or a wide receiver one? Man, you'd have to give up a lot. You'd have to really give up a big piece, a wide receiver one of its own. I just don't think Achan has enough value right now. Luis Martinez, trade Laporta, Mixon, and Deontay Johnson for Andrews, Montgomery, and T. Higgins. Luis Martinez, do that deal as quickly as you possibly can. Love that trade for you. Kike is guap. Thoughts on Adams rest of season? Worth buying low? You certainly can. Don't like it this week. I think they'll target him a lot in the offense, but I do think it's a week-to-week matchup thing because of how the coverage is against him, like this week with Sauce Gardner. Iman, start Singletary or Spears. Oh, Devin Singletary by a mile. No Dameon Pierce this week. Devin Singletary could be a sneaky good play for everybody. Pluex, I'd go C.J. Stroud. I'd go C.J. Stroud over Dak and Murray. Aaron, the thing about Carr is that he'll vote. Exactly, Aaron. That's exactly what I was saying. It's very similar, different positions, but similar issue. Derek Carr at quarterback, DeAndre Swift at running back. They lose out on those short yardage touchdowns because of the tush push, because of Taysom Hill. Keegan, thanks so much for subscribing, Keegan, for another month. Great to have you staying with us as a member of the Butt Fumble Sports family. So you guys, you got to be aware of those touchdown vultures. Carr certainly deals with one with Taysom Hill. King Croc, I'm back. Pitt's defense is my starter right now. I feel good about that. I feel good about Pittsburgh defense. I think they're going to get some sacks against Jordan Love. They should be able to turn him over as well. Mamba, what are your thoughts on Deontay Johnson this week? Love the number of targets he'll get. Love the number of receptions. Would not be surprised if he goes over his receptions total. However, he scored a touchdown last week for the first time in like a year and a half. Do I think he'll go back-to-back weeks with a touchdown? I certainly wouldn't bet that. It wouldn't be a good trend to go with. If it happens, great, but I think it's more targets that you're rooting for. Breece Hall, 80-plus rushing yards and a touchdown. I could see that happening, Diego. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 80 receiving yards and a touchdown. Shakier. I like the 80 receiving yards. The touchdown I'm shakier on. It could happen, but there are a lot of red zone options for the Lions now. You almost feel you'd have to get a touchdown outside the red zone to get it, like, a 22 to 25-yard pass. Kind of tricky, though. Aaron, would you start Bucks defense? No, I wouldn't. Actually, a bad matchup. They could get torched by Will Levis in the secondary. Kike is guap. Olave for Adams, a bad offer. Yeah, I think Olave has more value than that. Jorge, between Dobbs, Noah Brown, and Zay Flowers. Here's what I would say. I think I like Noah Brown the most in terms of upside, but if you wanted to play it safe, do I think Zay Flowers could get 4 or 5 catches? And if you're in a PPR league, that's a safe play, yes. But I think Jorge, Noah Brown has the most upside. I'd probably start him. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. Make sure you guys hit that follow button. That way you never miss when we're live. I will be live at 10 a.m. tomorrow, everybody. 10 a.m. We will do our show for everybody across TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick, answering college football sports betting questions, DFS questions. Obviously, we'll be giving out a lot of picks and fantasy football advice. So make sure you hit the follow button right now. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're with us tomorrow at 10 a.m. because we'll be having a lot of fun early in the morning. Do you think I should start Javonte Williams over Evans? Mamba, I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'm on the fence about it. I'd probably say yes because Javonte will get more overall carries than Mike Evans will get targets. But it's very close because Mike Evans could find the end zone against Tennessee, and that would be a big boost in total fantasy points. But I think I like Javonte just slightly, Mamba. It's very close, though. Aaron, I'd start the Saints over the Bucks. Aaron, I'd still start the Saints over the Bengals. Saints over the Bengals. Final few minutes of the show, everybody. Wanted to jump on for about a half hour, talk some fantasy football and sports betting with you guys. So get those questions in before we sign off. Letix, pick 2. I would go Metcalf and Olave. Metcalf and Olave would be the 2, Letix. Thanks for being with us tonight. Aaron, as always, I appreciate you. I hope you know that. Aaron, Letix, Mamba, Diego, Kike is Guap, Keegan, Texas Tejano, Pluex, Jacob Vines, Drew, 7382, Sand Sifter, IP Shade 45, CL. It's great to have all of you guys joining us. Liz, thank you guys so much for how you guys support the show. It was wonderful having you guys with us. Still a few more seconds left in the show, but just want to give a big shout out to all the loyal butt fumblers out there. Hope you guys know how grateful I am for you guys watching us every single day. Final seconds of the show. If you got a fantasy question, fire away. Sand Sifter, great to have you with us every day. Sand Sifter, bum. Appreciate you, man. Texas Tejano, thank you so much. Texas Tejano, hope you're having a wonderful night down there in the Lone Star State. Or if that's not where you are, wherever you are, I hope it's been a fabulous Friday night. For all of you guys, hope you guys know how grateful I am for the support. Hope you guys know how grateful I am that you guys watch the content. Make sure you guys follow, hit that follow button. Aaron, Ohtani to the Dodgers. Actually, I'm hearing some traction about Ohtani to the Cubs. Sounds like the Cubs are going to be throwing a lot of money and have made a push through Yu Darvish over the last few years to try to get Ohtani to Chicago. They talk about when Yu Darvish was in Chicago, he would talk up the city to Ohtani. So personally, I think the Dodgers have a very good chance, but Cubs are going to make a push. Sherry, I'm going to lean towards Singletary, believe it or not. Sherry, I'll lean towards Singletary. Roy Smith, flex 1.5 PPR. I'd go Kincaid. Roy Smith, I'd go Kincaid. And I think Jamar Chase plays, so I'd go Chase and Olave. Chase and Olave. Roy Smith, I'd also go, man, it's tough. I'll go Heineke just barely over Russell Wilson, but I don't know if I feel good about that. That might be me being a little bit biased about Russell Wilson. I need to dive into those stats. CL, thanks for subscribing for another month, CL. Really appreciate you. Great to have you staying as a subscriber. This Butt Fumble Sports community is the best. It's the best. Mamba, last week you said start Lamar over Stroud. What happened? Honestly, first of all, Stroud went the hell off. And second of all, Lamar, it turned into a running game. It turned into a game for the running backs of the Ravens. By the way, I don't feel bad about it. Lamar Jackson is usually a good play this year. But Stroud also had one of the greatest weeks of all time by rookie or non-rookie. So obviously that one looks bad, Mamba, but the reasoning was there. The reasoning was there. The only thing I probably should have accounted for more is the Buccaneers are so bad against the pass. I was taking Lamar. I should have taken the bad defense. I should have gone that direction. Diego, I think the Dodgers offer is too good, and I think he likes it in L.A. I don't know. I don't know if he likes it in LA. Like, people are kind of projecting that on him. I don't know. He actually doesn't seem like someone, let's put it this way. He wasn't in LA. Like, people talk about like he likes LA. Anaheim ain't LA. For all of those in Southern California, Anaheim and LA are not the same place. And living in Anaheim, dealing with Anaheim is very different from dealing with Hollywood and Chavez Ravine. So all I'll say is Ohtani to LA makes a lot of sense. Going to the Dodgers makes a lot of sense. But let's not confuse his time with the Angels with what his existence with the Dodgers would be. That is like going from the...
Have a wonderful night. Hope you have a wonderful sleep. Stay healthy. Stay safe. We will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m., everybody. 10 a.m. across TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick, answering all of your fantasy and sports betting questions every single day of 2023. Butt Fumble Sports is going to be there. Make sure you are as well. Hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, and have a great night, everybody. Until tomorrow morning, we will see you then. Goodbye, everybody.